I'm joined by the amazing Allison O'Toole, Dan Price, Andre Owen, Fred Kennedy, Chip Zdarsky. Chip, thanks for coming.
What's up, folks? I'm your host, Konrad, on Wednesday Night Reviews. And this wonderful Wednesday night, we are joined by Wordburglar to talk about their new Kickstarter that's come on. Wordburglar, how you doing?
Konrad, it's Wednesday. I'm talking with you. I'm feeling great.
Love it.
Yeah. How are you?
I am feeling good, especially with you here. The last time we got to do this was a couple of years back after I first found you and wanted to interview you because I thought you were doing something that I hadn't seen yet, which was basically doing the rap autobiographical style, which I highly enjoy. And if the folks out there haven't yet, first link down, or not first link, one of the links down below will have Burglar's Bandcamp. But I found the first 4 issues of your comic series, read that, digged your music, and went, well, I should talk to this person. And a couple of years later, here we are again.
Yo, I can't believe it's been a couple of years. Yeah, dude.
Actually.
Congrats to you keeping this going. Wednesdays are a very special day for those of us who know what Wednesday really means. And, I've worked in comic shops for years. Before I worked in comics retail, I was at the comic shop every Wednesday. I was even at the comic shop back when it was like Tuesdays. And I think at one point it might have been Fridays when I was really early on. I'm trying to remember when I was first getting comics at a comic shop. Wilkie's Wonderful World of Comics, Cards, and Games back in Halifax, where I was born and raised. And that was years before I would land a dream job in high school at Strange Adventures Comic Shop while rapping, and for those who are unfamiliar, I joke around and I have it in a song. I put myself through rap school working at a comic store, and I've always, there's 2 things I love. We were just talking about this before we went live here. I love comic books and I love music, and I've been making comics forever, making music forever, but I've never really combined the 2 into a comic. I've made rhymes about comics, but I've never made rhymes with comics.
This is true.
So that's what what I'm here to talk about today. Sorry, I'm segueing ahead.
No, hey, speaking of which,
whoa,
what's this?
Dude, is that STEVE MCNIVEN who drew that?
That is
Dave Howlett and colored by James White of Signal Noise? What is it? Does it say Wordburglar on it? Oh my gosh. That is the cover to the comic that we are launching on Kickstarter at the end of June. And it's called Wordburglar Rhymes with Comics, because that's what I do. And that's what this original 100-page rap-a-graphic novel is. It's my rhymes with comics. With, this crazy, awesome cover by the incredible STEVE MCNIVEN. So that's what we're doing. It's been all consuming on my mind right now. So being able to talk with you about this now, it's like, all right, we can talk about it, because I've been working here secretly in the Wordburglar and just behind the stairs, and I've been working on it secretly, not so secretly, for a couple years now. Working with 15 different comic artists to illustrate 15 of my songs and present them the way they were meant to be seen as comics. So there, I did the whole spiel. Now let's just talk about what you picked up today.
Yeah. Cool. We're 4.5 minutes in. We're good. All right, cool. Cut it. We'll edit it. We're good.
Everybody support my Kickstarter and help us make this great comic. But
woo! All right, we'll roll credits.
Issue. I got the new Noah Van Sciver and G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles and Prince Valiant hardcover over here. But sorry.
No, all good. It's
real,
funny.
Valiant, yeah.
Oh, pretty.
This is good. You could you can knock out a chipmunk with this thing.
Well, it's funny because for the folks out there watching, whether they're watching now live with us or they are watching sometime in the future, one of the things that I personally highly enjoy about your breadth of work, all the stuff that you've done over the last, oh, what is it now? How many albums do you have total, Bergie?
Oh,
Because it's quite a few.
dude,
Number of comics.
infinite Earths, albums across
Yes.
infinite Earths.
Yes, you've multiversed out. You touch on GI Joe, TMNT. You get real, Earth Prime, our Earth with Halifax. Maybe the 616 with Toronton. Who knows? But just to start with, because you kind of did the voice when you mentioned the books that you picked up. You did this voice you do called That Comic Guy, and he appears in one of your songs, which I think is hilarious. And the stuff that you've created is vast and as eclectic and interesting as I would say the vibrant, interesting cover of your book is. To the point where I'm almost unsure where to start. So when it comes to Wordburglar Rhymes with Comics #1 here, I guess the first opening question is, why did you want to put this together as just a book? Like, what was the impetus to make this a comic?
Well, look, like I said, lifetime lover of comics, lifetime lover of music. I would in the early days, I remember biking to the comic book shop, going to the comic shop, having my headphones on. That was my soundtrack to pick up my comics. I'd come home, I'd, turn on the stereo and read comics to music. To this day, there are certain comics I pick up and I remember, oh man, I was listening to this album when I was reading this comic. And I hear a song and I'm like, oh man, I remember like buying this album like the same week that I got this like incredible Spider-Man comic, and it was like they're just forever intertwined, and it's both, strong parts of me. Like like it's funny, you were talking about my comics. I found like these are old photocopied zines and mini comics I used to make. These I made when I was like in junior high and high school. Adventures in Paper, and with like Dave Howlett, who I'm still working with today. I should probably be really careful. Look at this. You'll probably get this. Adventures in Paper Routing. This was the precursor years before we did. Let me see if I have it here. The Last Paper Route.
There it is.
It started the genesis, if you will, like the original. This is the original, and then Last Paper Route became like the ultimate version of Adventures in Paper Routing. And this cover is a spoof of Avengers. But even in these comics, like there's like I had like rap stuff here, like I have like Masta Ace. I just drew Masta Ace in here because he was one of my favorite rappers, and he has no idea that I put him in my bootleg comic that I sold to my friends in high school and junior high. But why put them together and why do this comic? It's like, you've got your two best friends and you think they should hang out together. And I think you guys would really get along, and they do. And when I'm writing my songs, I'm thinking of them. I think of stories like, I have using songs, that has been my outlet for writing a lot of stories, a lot of character studies. You mentioned Toronton, the Tauntaun who moves to Toronto, because of course, he's everybody's favorite star camel who's friends with Mark Hamill. And he that is like a story. That's a character. Your friend's brother, Lenny Boudelier. Like I would write these like character stories, and I would see them as comics. And I often listen to music, and I'm like, oh, I wonder. Like I could see this song translating into a comic. And in the past, there have been. I remember there was like a comic I got that was like a bunch of songs for Pavement and like just other bands. Like I've seen the music and comic combo have. It's been done. Like you've seen, but I don't know, the way I'm doing it, it just seemed to work. And where I have scripted these stories, and within the comic, we've got 15 songs. Some of them are 2-pagers, some of them are 12 pages. So it really stretches out like in length. And I've scripted the stories, but the lyrics are the only words you see on the page. So,
right on.
So stuff is happening, but it's like literally how I visualized this stuff, like Toronton or your friend's brother, the other shop, like all these things. It's like how I can see these as comics, and I always could. And it's kind of been an idea that's been building in the back of my mind for years. And then finally, a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm going to try and do this. And I was just going to try like doing like maybe 1 or 2 songs. And I thought of even doing them as backups in my other comics, like The Last or Snake or. And then I was like, I just started talking to artists about it, and they were into the idea. You know, I talked to Jason Lowe, you know, who I've known for a million years, Pitiful Human Lizard, and Jason once did like a G.I. Joe Canadian comic, which is pretty cool. And you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
Oh, hey, but tell the people, hey, the more we can spread the word about what everyone's doing, I think the better.
Yeah. And look, I know he's a huge Star Wars fan, and I told him about this character. I had the Taranton, and he drew this awesome poster for me for the Mos Eisley rap show, which had Taranton in it, and like a couple of these other Star Wars inspired characters I had. And I was like, what do you think of like doing this as a comic? And he was into the idea. And then I talked to, you know, my friend Troy about Wordburglar. And I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do this like crazy, like Conan meets He-Man meets Dungeons and Dragons meets Gru the Wanderer, but like really crazy and cartoony, and like a jam in all these jokes and Easter eggs. And Troy Little was just like amazing. And I knew he was the guy for that. And he's doing the Cult of the Lamb comic for anyone listening now who doesn't know. And it's a big video game and comic book. It's super.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And he did like Rick and Morty, Dungeons and Dragons, and he worked with Kevin Eastman on Radically Rearranged Ronin Ragdolls. I think I got that title right. And an awesome Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas comic. I mean, everybody who worked on this book are just killers. And a lot of Canadians. It's like mostly Canadian, all human. No, not a single drop of any type of computery, robotic-y AI. There's none of that on here. And yeah, so I'm all over the place. But I've always rhymed with comics, and now I'm putting my rhymes with comics.
In comics.
And yeah, in comics. And man, it's an awesome comic, if I do say so myself. Like, every artist just has brought their A game, and I'm so excited for people to see this stuff.
Well, so on the note of seeing it, the image that you sent me, I have them loaded up. I wanted to clear it with you before. Am I good to show some of them off?
Engage. Yeah, let's
do it. Well, here is the Taranton with I mean, again, folks, if you're out there watching, absolutely. Not only is this a beautiful cover, if I'm not mistaken, by the amazing and local Jason Lowe, but we've got a lovely Mark Hamill. So yeah, go check out Bandcamp. That is available. Again, the link near the bottom of the description of the video, which has the credits for the song I've used for quite some time as my opening and closing, also gives you everything for Burglar here. Yeah, are you good if I scroll through and maybe give some commentary on it?
Sweet. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So this is one of the pages of Taranton. So this is actually going to be an 8-page story in the comic. Jason Lowe illustrated it. Tons of Toronto Easter eggs. If you're familiar with the song, wow, we've crammed everything into this book. Some really funny stuff. I mean, Jason already had such an incredible grasp of drawing the city and the GTA in Pitiful Human Lizard, which, if you haven't read, please, people go find that book. Great comic series. And yeah, so everything from like the streetcars to like, running to Vaughan, just like all kinds of like fun little things. The AGO, the Sky Dome, Rogers Center.
No, Sky Dome. You said it right.
I said it right. So I knew Jason was, and plus the Star Wars connection. Star Wars inspired, I will say. Yeah, this is
yes.
This is not a official Star Wars comic in any way, shape, or form. That is the actor Mark Hamill, who is not Star Wars. He is, and that guy just looks like Mark Hamill, I should say.
Yeah, that's just an odd coincidence.
It's an odd coincidence.
There is no copyright infringement intended. Yeah. Should there be any characters that resemble people or places, it is purely coincidence.
It's parody, satire, fun.
Yeah,
and that's what we're doing. This comic is fun. Like, that's front to back, fun. I want you to put on the soundtrack. You get the book, you get the soundtrack with it. If you're not familiar with my music, there's no previous experience with Wordburglar necessary. This is an absolute, I've looked at this as an intro. One thing I'll say, like I looked at like all my different albums and songs, and I was like, what would be like a solid group of tracks that I could pick from, like handpick from every album? What are going to make the coolest comics together that flow as a great playlist musically, but also as a comic give you this variety from, if you're into sci-fi or Dungeons and Dragons or just like nerdy stuff or just like fun, crazy wordplay. Like Dave Hallett's crushing with so many pages in this book. He drew The Other Shop and he drew Verbal Pursuit. And Verbal Pursuit, it's like if you listen to the song, it's not so much a story. It's kind of just like just me just having fun rhyming and like this high energy. Like it's kind of like a Wordburglar kind of theme song, I would say, where it's just like, you know, I'm on the loose. And when I envision that song, it's like I'm just always burgling. Like it's just like what I do. And great segue, dude. That's a page from Verbal Pursuit, which is like jam-packed with Easter eggs that span what I did with this song. Working with Dave, because Dave is, you know, is one of my oldest friends. We did these comics 1,000 years ago. We've been pals in comics and everything forever. And he was the original Wordburglar artist. Like he drew my first album art, all this stuff. So what I wanted to do was include Easter eggs spanning my, like, oh my gosh, like 2 decades of albums and characters and songs and stuff. So like that robot there is from the cover of my album Burglaritis, and then there's like all kinds of other characters and stuff in the background in this opening comic. So I was like, this is going to be the opening like word burglariest song comic ever, of just like, if you've ever got one of my records or listened to my songs, you'll probably find a couple Easter eggs in there. And Dave is just like, Dave's incredible, because I throw all this stuff at him and I'm like, you know, you don't have to draw this. And then he like draws all and more. And I'm like, dude, like, how are you? And he's like, every artist sending me the art back, I'm just like, I had 100 pages of just like elation and surprise. It was like every time I'd get an email with a new page of art from one of these guys, it's just like,
boom.
Bam, look at that. Brenda Hickey drawing From Earth, which is a song about well, it's about where I'm from, and it's it's a fun sci-fi track. Yeah, and look at that. And Brenda, who people may know from My Little Pony, IDW, Pegamoose Press, Don't Call Me Sidekick is her latest graphic novel, which is amazing. And Brenda's just like so talented in the humor and just like her lines are so perfect and fluid, and like all these different characters of all different styles and designs kind of inhabiting this world. And I knew, I was like, look, there's going to be aliens in here. There's going to be like, you know, me and my friends and my wife and babies and like sand, like food and hockey players and all this madness. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to draw it all. So she's like really flexing some crazy chops in this story. That's another 8-pager. I think people are going to be
wow.
I mean, look, even if you don't like the music, these comics are just crazy. So like, wow, look at that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, so far from what I've seen, the art styles, I should say, because there's, like you said, there's quite a lot of artists here.
Yeah.
They're all extremely distinct, but also they fit well with what you do, and they're also independently quite awesome. So I'm excited for this anthology. I guess one thing I was curious about, because you've mentioned it now a few times, was soundtrack. Now, having previously interviewed you before, having scoured YouTube for stuff that you've done, I've personally listened to quite a bit of your music. For the folks out there, is the intended soundtrack for this going to function as sort of like a greatest hits in your mind? How did you pick what went in?
Yeah, like I wanted, like, it was like constructing a mixtape where I want to hit all these different notes. You got the high energy song, you got like the chill song, you got like the, you know, the crowd pleaser, you got like the mysterious thing. Like, I love making like playlists and mixtapes and like, and when every one of my albums, I do that too. Like I'll follow like different rhythms. I never like to like overstack an album with like, oh, this is all the same type of song. Like I want, you know, some might be a little zanier, some might be a little more like harder, kind of serious, right? But like when I looked at this, also it was like visually, like what is going to give a great variety, like basically it's a comics anthology. So what do I love about anthologies, right? I think of some of my favorite ones, like I like the Bizarro Comics anthologies that came out from DC years ago, where they got a whole bunch of indie and underground cartoonists doing their takes on DC characters. And if anyone hasn't seen those, hunt them down. I'm sure I've got it on my shelf somewhere, at least one of them. But yeah, like I love an anthology where there's a thread, you know, you've got that red thread that ties it all together, but every story is different. And you nailed it when you said like the art styles are all different, right? You go from Troy to Dave to Brenda to Kalman to any of these incredible artists in here. Here's Kalman Andruszowski there doing that Sega Was Bad. I mean, look at that. That's like the cover to a Sega game that every kid would have wanted.
Oh God, yeah. The ultimate fighting game right there.
Yeah, and he summed up everything about like my song Sega Was Bad is about back in the 90s, like there was a hard line whether you were like a Nintendo kid or a Sega kid. And,
right? Like such a hard one too. It was like
yeah. And it was like, oh, I don't know. But like Sega always had this like edge, right? Like Nintendo was like Mario and it's nice and it was like family friendly-ish. But then Sega, like people were like barely wearing clothes and there was blood in the games and like crazy themes that would not have flown under that Nintendo seal of quality. So Sega was bad. And, you know, and arguably, like, look, I love Sega, but I gotta go like Super Nintendo versus Genesis. I gotta go Super Nintendo. Like, I'm a hardcore Nintendo guy. Like, so, you know, in that way, Sega was kind of bad, but it wasn't bad because there's great games on it. And, but that's, you know, the spirit of that game. And like, you just look like Kalman has like embodied all my lyrics with me and Mega Ran on that song and all Mega Ran's lyrics and taken these, like embodied all these themes of Sega. And like, you know, the hockey players in the Sega games were mean. Like, you know, you could, I don't know. Yeah, look, nobody's wearing clothes. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, generally, yeah.
Yeah, but just a variety. And Jason and so this, I don't want to go to Cobra Law. This is illustrated by the artist known as Whack, who I discovered. Whack did this underground comic that was in it was basically a love letter to this old 80s cartoon and toy line called Mask. Have you ever heard of Mask? There were these
Mask.
Yeah, Mask. So they were these guys and they all wore masks. It was like a team. It was kind of like a G.I. Joe team, but they were like a privately funded, like super scientifical expert. And they wore these awesome helmets and they drove vehicles that transformed from one. They didn't transform into robots. They went from one vehicle to another. It's like you've got a motorcycle and it turns into a helicopter. You got a car and it turns into like a ski boat or something. Like, you know, so it was like, this cool stuff of G.I. Joe, this cool stuff of Transformers, we'll put it together and you got Mask. Anyways, Mask is really cool. And Whack did this cool Mask comic that was just like a love letter to that stuff. And I came across it. I was like, what is this? This is amazing. Because I'm all about, like, you know, I think like you get it. It's like celebrating the stuff you love, just like doing these tributes. And I could feel the place where this was coming from. And I was like, this guy is like nailing it. And he clearly cares about this source material. I'm not like a Mask expert by any means, but like I was like, this book's great. Anyways, when I was putting this book together, I was like, I want to do this song that I have inspired by Cobra-La, the monstery snake people from the G.I. Joe universe. And the song is about like, you don't want to go there. Like people will joke and hate on Cobra-La and be like, I don't know, Cobra-La is kind of weird and silly. I don't like that. I'm like, to me as a kid, when I discovered Cobra-La, I was like, this is freaky, man. I don't want to go there. Like, Cobra Commander, don't send me to, I'll do anything. Just don't send me to Cobra-La. Because look, you got guys like this.
Yeah, really.
They dress up like living crustaceans, and they're snake mutants, and they use spores to explode your brains. It's nuts. So Whack, I messaged him, and I was like, look, we don't know each other, but I love your work. What do you think about this project? And he was like all in, and oh my gosh, like crushed this story. So
yeah,
I think people are going to be blown away. Like Skybound need to hire this guy to do some Cobra-La stuff because it's crazy.
Oh yeah, like as I said earlier, like the art that you have in these is insane, and while extremely distinct, it works. And I feel like anyone who picks up this book. Speaking of which, actually, when does the Kickstarter go live? When can people hit the notify button, and then when can they support it and pick their tier?
Yes. So they can sign up to be notified right now. I have the link at wordburglar.com, or go to Kickstarter, type in Wordburglar. You'll find it. It's called Wordburglar Rhymes with Comics #1. Please sign up to be notified. So then on day one, when we launch it, you're right there. The plan right now is to launch it the last week of June. And I'm actually looking at June 30th. I was going to do it the weekend before, like the week before, but I like June 30th because as a 30-day campaign, that's going to land me on July 30th, which is a Wednesday. So I was like, ending on a Wednesday kind of feels good to me. So
yeah, that fits real good.
I'm thinking June 30th. The other thing is the book is basically done. I'm fine-tuning it right now, I'm getting things figured out with the printer and everything at the moment. My goal, like I didn't want to launch the Kickstarter until the book was basically sitting at the printer waiting to print. So when I hit that goal, I'm optimistic we're going to make that goal. I'm just going to call the printer and be like, yo, let's do this. Because I've backed many Kickstarters and I don't like waiting. And, keeping this, I'm talking about
appreciate the honesty.
I mean, look, I'm talking about this so much because I've been working on this behind the scenes for so long that now I can finally talk about it. And I'm like, oh man, wait till you see all this cool stuff I've been working on, and I haven't shown anybody about it. And I haven't shown anybody any of it. And now, ideally the book, we make our goal, book goes to the printer, and I'm going to get it to people as soon as possible. And then what I want to do, I'm going to print it at comic book size, but if we can make our stretch goal, I want to print it at like oversize, like this, like the Invincible. So here's, for those who don't know, like normal comic size, and then this is like the oversized version. So I want to do it at this size because I think
would go great.
It just look better. You can read it without your glasses on because it's bigger words. So that's the plan. So
beauty.
June 30th seems good. What do you think? But then it lands out, then there's Canada Day, and I don't know, are people going to be like checking the internet on Canada Day to back a Kickstarter? So it's, I don't know. What do you think? What's your take? Should I do it the week before Canada Day?
My feeling is this. I think because of how charismatic you are, because of how passionate you are, I know you are going to post a lot about this. And the way that you do things is so attention grabbing. I feel like as long as Canada Day ends up within your campaign period, you will be able to basically go, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm about, local Canadian creator, and I think people will love that. Not to mention, you're going to be able to tap into people who like music, people who are nerds, people who are comics people, and you're going to be able to have such a huge spread of like interesting people into this that I will be. I'm sure I would be pleasantly surprised at the odd and yet lovely demographic of people who are going to see this book and go, hell yeah, and just run over to you.
Man, Konrad, can I quote you on that? The odd and lovely demographic. That is, if I can have an odd and lovely demographic, I mean, that's what more could anyone want? Those
not much.
Odd and lovely. Maybe that's my next album title.
Perfect. Well, you know what? One thing I guess what I was curious about, because I remember you started posting and offering basically people who could order your a handwritten set of your lyrics. So you are absolutely a person who goes all out on the options, on the cool stuff. So not only are people going to be able to get a graphic novel with a soundtrack to it, or I should say a comic book with a soundtrack to it, are you planning on doing any sort of interesting tell me the things. I'm excited.
Thank you. Well, look, I'm glad you mentioned the handwritten lyrics, because my hand has finally recovered from writing all those words. So we're going to do handwritten lyrics again. I'm going to do another limited batch of those because, I'm not an artist. I mean, I used to draw my own comics, and I still doodle, but nobody wants to buy my hand doodles. But my handwriting, after lettering comics by hand as a kid and like always printing, I think I've got pretty okay handwriting. So I love doing the handwritten lyrics. So I'll do that for you. Any song of mine that people want, I will write out the lyrics and you can frame it. We have like nice song lyric paper that I do it on, like a nice cardstock, nice printed thing. So yeah, that's going to be, if somebody wants to get that, that's an additional thing. There's going to be we've got a brand new t-shirt, like a brand new Rap Viper colorway t-shirt offered as an add-on. And there's going to be tote bags. What I'm really excited about, though, I'm excited about all of it, but the stretch goals. So we're going to have like the $25 tier, which is just the graphic novel, just a book. You get 100-page book signed by me.
100-page book. Oh my God. Okay.
100-page book, $25. And signed by me, and we're going to do 2 covers. We're doing the cover in color and in black and white, like exclusive for Kickstarter. It'll be a black and white option if people want it, or you could get both covers if you want. And that's $25. Then at the $35 tier, you get the book, and then you get the full soundtrack as a digital download. So that comes.
That'll be the one, yeah.
So $35 album and like the comic. That's a pretty good deal. But then that also entitles you to any of our unlocked stretch goals. So what I've found in the past, and what I love about these Kickstarters, is when you just go in and you take a chance on a creator, I love it when the creator says, thank you. Like, I appreciate that. So what I've tried to do is structure this so you come in, you at the $35 or higher tier, because we do have like the higher tiers for handwritten lyrics. You can get the full discography. You can get the T-shirt. You can do a bunch of stuff. Like I'm doing a full, like there's like vinyl and stuff. But the stretch goals will be like the oversize. You pledge at $35. If we make that stretch goal, you're getting the oversized book, no extra charge. It's going to be oversized. Then there's going to be like stickers. We've got magnets, but then a cassette tape. You get a free cassette tape. If we can reach that goal, everybody at $35 or over gets the whole album on cassette with that McNiven artwork on the cassette. Sorry.
No, for the folks out there, the younger folks, a cassette tape is a piece of beautiful music history where there was music on tape.
Oh, look at this. Here you go. Look, this is probably the inspiration. This old Star Wars Planet of the Hoojibs. The book and the cassette tape. I have a song about the Hoojibs. It's called Remember the Hoojibs, because these guys were written out of Star Wars history. And I had this as a kid, and my whole life I was like, who are the Hoojibs? I've never seen them in a movie, never seen them in a cartoon. There's no toys of Hoojibs. And then new Star Wars movies kept coming out, no Hoojibs. So
Interesting.
Does anyone remember the Hoojibs? Because I have this book.
Keep them alive, Bergie. Keep them alive.
So, but then I think one of them showed up in the Boba Fett show. But one of the Jabba the Hutt cousins was like eating one. And everyone's like, yo, is that a Hoojib? But I don't know that it was officially confirmed or not. But it looked like he was eating Hoojibs. Poor little Hoojibs.
I know what I'm watching tonight after this.
Yeah, so cassette tape, that is one of the stretch goals, and then a CD, and then we're gonna see how far we go. But I thought those are nice. It'll be nice little bonuses. I always try and throw in some surprises too. Like, this is my first time doing Kickstarter, but it's not my first time doing like a campaign. Like I've done the vinyl crowdfunders before on Bandcamp. So I think if people are apprehensive about supporting this campaign, if they're like, I don't know, is this guy going to deliver? No, I will deliver the goods to you. So that's another reason I've been waiting to get the book ready. Like, you're going to get this stuff. I backed a campaign one time, and the guy just disappeared, never fulfilled it. And you hear about that sometimes. So that will not be the case here. Yes,
I will say I personally experienced an interesting one. Again, this is extremely rare because, if people were doing Kickstarters, getting all these funds and then not delivering, no one would back Kickstarters. It just wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, I backed a comic called Sparrow, and the person had set up certain dates and just never seemingly delivered. And then all of a sudden, like 6 months later, I got a comic book in the mail, and I was like, oh, okay.
So that's not bad. 6 months isn't bad. Like, as long as the creator is communicating with you, because some of these things take years. I've backed video games where it's like they're taking like 2 or 3 years. I backed like some action figure campaigns where it's taking years to get this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's fine as long as the creators are in touch with you. There's some where people, there's just like, you never hear from them, no communication. 5 years later, they've got my $80 and I didn't get anything, and that.
Yeah,
it sucks. Yeah,
that ain't cool. But I am glad, like from the sounds of it, it feels like you're going to have most of, if not all of this book prepared and in hand by launch date anyway.
Yeah, like it's funny. Even Kickstarters, like, give yourself enough time, like make this deadline like months down the road. So, and I'm going to do that. And who knows? I mean, I'm just one guy over here. So I'm, a one-man record label comic book publisher. So it takes time to get everything shipped and packed and everything. I've talked about that with many other creators. So you have to give yourself a buffer. And like physically, I can't walk to the post office with like 60 boxes.
Good luck.
Yeah, so like, I think people can be patient, but I will keep the communication going. And but there is going to be a local pickup option for people in Toronto or the GTA. Like, so that's like, if you want to save on shipping and you live in Toronto or the Ontario area, you want to come to like an event or a show or whatever, you can pick up the book. So I've used that option when other creators have offered it, and I find it's pretty cool because then, hey, you can save a couple bucks on shipping and you get to meet the creator and pick up your stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah, to me, that's the big one. Like getting to meet the person behind the book is always exciting. So yeah, and I mean, I've personally from you before picked up stuff at cons.
Yeah.
Now we do have a quick comment.
Cool. Oh, there's people here. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I can't see.
It's not just you and me. Eckhart says, "Get the pencils ready to rewind your cassette." Hello from Arnstein.
Yo. Hello. Thank you. Yes, that's right. You need the pencil. Look, there's going to be CDs too, because I know not everybody has those cassette decks, and I've never done a Wordburglar cassette. So that's also kind of exciting for me. It's like I've done, look, I got, we just dropped the new vinyl. Look at that. See, look, we deliver. Look at this bad boy. Look at this. Ooh.
My God.
Beauty. Yeah. So replicable skills. so yeah, I put out vinyl, put out CDs, but never an actual cassette. So that would be cool.
Interesting.
And they have this new technology where they can put artwork on the cassette. So that's kind of what I'm like. Imagine a little tape that looks like a comic panel, but it's like a cassette. But
Oh, that'd be super cool.
dude, so yeah, we got plans. We're thinking. We make the stuff cool. I only make stuff that I think is cool that I want, because I'm doing it basically so I can get it for free. So full disclosure, everyone, I'm just doing this to get a free comic of Wordburglar songs for myself.
I mean, that's the way to do it, right?
If anybody else wants it, amazing. But I figure this is how I get a free one, by running a month-long campaign. If you toiling for 3 years to make it.
Yeah, I mean, just convince enough people to buy it, and then you can get one for free as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So one question
for all you aspiring artists out there, if you want to get a free record of your music, just yeah. Sorry, dude. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. One thing that I'm curious about, because I myself have semi-struggled with it, is when it comes to your music. Like you've got the vinyl there. I am certain somewhere you have a CD copy of at least some of, if not all of your albums.
There we go. Right there.
Love it.
Surrounded. It's the layer in here. It's just like it's all coming down on me. Yeah. Sorry.
I would hope so. Do you ever listen to your own stuff? And what is your go-to medium, I'll call it, or platform, whether it's cassette, CD, vinyl, digital? I mean, you could just do it live. You could just hook a speaker up and go, I guess. But
Yeah. I do, I listen to my albums so much when I'm making them, because I'm going through the process of mixing and mastering and rewriting and tweaking and producing and all the jazz. So by the time an album is going to manufacturing and getting distributed, I've listened to every song so many times, and I'm kind of like, okay, I know this stuff now. But then when I'm doing shows, and if it's a song I haven't done in a long time, I haven't done this in a while, let me just refresh my brain, and I'll usually throw it on. My go-to, probably because I've got a great CD system right here that's so fast and easy, and I love CDs. I've got a song, CDs are back. I just love CDs. I love vinyl too. And now that I'm getting more of my catalog finally out on vinyl, that's good. But for all of my, I'm just getting a notification for my phone or for my thing there. No, I'll just turn it off.
Someone's signing up, hopefully, for the campaign.
Yeah. So vinyl's great, but probably CD. I mean, I also just upload MP3s to my phone. And that's what, I listen to stuff walking every day, running around. I've always got my headphones on. So my phone is basically gigged up with gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs of albums. So that's what that's probably where I listen to things the most these days, just out of convenience and traveling and stuff. But yeah, when I'm at home, I'll usually throw on a CD,
Right.
Usually not my own music. I'll put on other rap CDs.
I mean,
or
fair,
the Final Fantasy 3 soundtrack, which is a go-to. But yeah.
Hell yeah. So one, you got me kind of curious. One thing I remember being a big conversation point, and again, this was probably 10 or more years ago now. I remember when we were culturally going through the shift from having downloaded MP3s in a hard state device like an iPod. An iPod for the younger generation is a solid device that you had just for music. So when going from stuff like an iPod or having MP3s on your phone that are always there and you could just listen to streaming, I remember there being the conversation around, well, if you're streaming it, the bit rate isn't quite as good, so the sound quality isn't there, which I'm sure in some capacity is true. I would love to hear your opinion on, given the quality of headphones nowadays, the quality of streaming of data and management and all that, when it comes to streaming versus having the actual file, do you find a difference as an enjoyer, not as a creator?
Oh, 100%. Like, if you're going to listen to a digital file, you probably want it on a WAV or a FLAC, FLAC.
Ooh.
Those are like the highest quality digital files that I have, like, I prefer to listen to if I'm going to listen to stuff digital. I mean, we all listen to MP3s, like 128s or whatever. If you're listening to MP3, I would say 320 is your best. You want a 320 MP3. Is probably your highest quality MP3. And then you get into the waves, which are like they're bigger file, but they do sound a bit better.
Okay.
I don't listen to Spotify. Like, I don't even have it. I don't have it on my phone. Like, my music is on there. It's great. It's like, I love it. I love that people have, access to so much of that stuff. But no, my like a CD to me, like, if you have a really high quality CD player,
Yeah.
I actually think that is like the best quality. I love vinyl. Vinyl is a completely different thing, but you need a proper amp.
Interesting.
You need good speakers. If you've got a sweet vinyl setup, oh man, it's like the most beautiful, wonderful listening experience. But for like your average, if you are just like want to invest in a nice sound system for your home, and you just want just the one really high quality CD player, and I find, CDs are back, and a lot of bands I know are making them. Like, I'm finding like young people, kids want CDs. Like, in my
Oh.
songs, CDs are back. Yeah, it's never going to be like the way it was at the height of CDs, but for me, it's like listening to stuff online and streaming. There's interruptions. Like, you try and listen to stuff on YouTube or Spotify, whatever. There's always going to be interruptions, distractions, whatever. I want to put a vinyl down. I want to just like take this record, put it down, get engaged with the music, drop the needle on it. Look at the artwork. You read the lyrics. Like, make some coffee. Like, you're walking around your house, you're doing something. Like, this is just me. Like, I like that interaction and the tactile. Like, you are physically making an effort to put on this music. You're going to make an effort to listen a little closer. Like, subconsciously, I think it's just a more involved and rewarding experience with the music, whether it's CD or vinyl, or cassette, but I think the sound quality. Clearly, I could go on and on about this, Konrad. I apologize for the rambling tangent, but yeah. So where was I? What do you think of the new Ultimate Spider-Man? Is it? He's a dad now. It's different.
Well, but talking about like the physical media and vinyl or CD, I absolutely, as someone who was at a time, I had a huge video game collection. I still kind of do. I had a rather huge CD collection, which is now sitting in my basement in a box collecting dust. And I just I don't remember exactly when, but I do not remember it being a slow taper. I remember it sort of being sudden and just stream. I think there is absolutely something to having physical media, and maybe it is the quality, but I think having the ownership to be able to say, hey, this is my CD. I own this CD. I have forevermore the ability to play this music. It is my music. I think that beats the pants off of, oh, I'm going to hop on Spotify and hit play and listen to this. And if Spotify's your jam, great. And it does support the artist. They get money for it and the ads and all that. Wonderful. But I don't know. Something, yeah, I think you're right. When you have it, the physical thing, I think you do pay closer attention to it. You protect it a little bit. It's yours. Yeah.
I remember like my old iTunes library, for whatever reason, like iTunes upgraded and I had like uploaded a bunch of songs to that library, all these different places. And then my library got deleted one day. I was like, what happened? And it was just, that was back when you could like upload your own music and it would
I remember
your iTunes library. Oh, I'll get rid of the CD now because I've like already uploaded this to iTunes. But since it wasn't a purchase through the Apple thing, for whatever reason, eventually when I updated my iTunes, half those songs just disappeared. It's like, what is going on? And then from a collector's standpoint, there's a lot of music that is not on Spotify. You can't find it. There's comics, give me physical comics and books over digital any day. I mean, look, Adventures in Paper Routing #5 that I made 1,000 years ago with my friends Alex and Dave and everybody. I mean, this was never digital. This isn't digital. You could only get this if you had gone to Strange Adventures back in the day. But yeah, you own it. Like, I have CDs that I definitely, the stuff's not on Spotify, and just like,
oh God, no.
It's just such an accessible thing for the creators to make. Any kid can go out and make their own comic book and get it printed up and just get it out there. And, you can go make a CD, you can do these physical things and get them out there. And, I understand the minimalist and the digital thing, but I think it is nice to have physical stuff. And, clearly I enjoy it. I like supporting artists that make it, and I like making it myself because it just feels real.
Yes,
it is like this is like
getting to hold a comic. Yeah, exactly. You like did this. That.
You could, I could. I don't know.
No. Oh my God. No.
But whoa, there we go. It's okay. It's okay. I got a few more of these, but no, this is. I know how to handle a vinyl. It's like, this is like real. This is something. Vinyl will be around. If there's no electricity in the future, if an electromagnetic pulse incident happens and you have no electricity, you can still play vinyl.
You can.
You got to get one of those cranky, not a hurdy-gurdy. What are they called?
Oh.
An old gramophone, like a cranking gramophone.
Get the needle on there and have that old. You can just start blaring your music. That. Hell yeah!
How about that, right? So you run out of power, Spotify's not going to help play your favorite music.
Well, I mean, I got to be able to hear Channel Halifax no matter what. Okay, so here we go.
Right. It's on that record, in fact.
Yes, it is.
Nice.
So speaking of physical media and getting your hands on it, so people can go out now, and I'm going to see if I can't bring it up once again real quick here.
You're really but they good with this bringing up the things when we're talking.
I try. Thank you.
It's very good. Very savvy.
Speaking of which, so yeah, people can go out now. It is as easy as go into your browser of choice, Kickstarter, Wordburglar, all one word. You will find this. It's very easy. Smash notify me on launch so that you can see the available tiers. As Burglar mentioned, $25 will get you the physical copy of the book. $35 will include the soundtrack. That's the one to get, people. Yeah, I guess that was the big stuff. I want to make sure people could go to the. Actually, I guess on screen it's this way. But I do also want to give you the chance to shout out, Bergie. Where can people follow you regarding the music? Just you in general. Where are you most active online so people can check out what you're doing? Do the thing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. I guess Instagram, I'm pretty usually on probably the most right now at the Wordburglar. I'm also on Blue Sky. I still have, I'm still Facebook, Twitter, YouTube channel is just Wordburglar Official, where I've got lots of videos and music. Check it out, definitely, if you want to get a sample of what I do. And then wordburglar.com. I update that as regularly as I can. Like right now, wordburglar.com, you've got the link right to the Kickstarter, and that will direct you to music, my podcast, comics, all kinds of stuff. And that, that would be great. And again, thank you so much for, having me, but then just keeping these comic book conversations going. Every week you're doing it, you're bringing in cool people, you're talking with the community, you're talking with artists and creators. Everybody appreciates this. And, look, I, lifelong comic book person, lover, friend of comics. It's like we all appreciate it, and I know it's hard work, and thank you. Like as soon as I was like, oh yeah, I gotta reach out to Konrad. Hopefully he'll want to chat about this, because
Thank you.
We always have a good time geeking out, man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you a lot.
Well,
Cheers.
thank you. Yeah, man. Thank you very much. You are certainly one of my favorite nerds and musicians, to be honest. I do quite love what you do. I guess the only last thing I really am curious about is we've talked about the fact that you are making this comic. Love it. People are going to back it. It's going to get made. You're going to have a blast with it. We've talked about the fact that you do music, that people can get the soundtrack for this, or once again, the bottom link in the description will have the link to Wordburglar's Bandcamp. But you do music. You actively do music. I have gone to a concert hall and saw you open the show for Cybertronic Spree. I got to see you live. I want more people to be able to do that. Do you have scheduled a next live show? When is it? Who is it with? Where is it?
Yeah,
Where can people get you?
We're about to announce a few more dates. There's going to be shows coming up in Toronto and Halifax, Edmonton.
Oh my!
Yeah, I'm heading to Montreal to do a couple shows. There's a lot going on. It's all going to go up on wordburglar.com. I think a few things are just getting narrowed down. For people who are going to be around for Fan Expo weekend in Toronto, we'll be doing a show that weekend. So I think that is going to be announced soon. Hopefully anybody wants to come to that. And yeah, I'm doing a regular series at the Transac in Toronto on Brunswick Avenue. So keep an eye out on that. I'll be posting on Instagram for the next show coming up at the Transac. And yeah, hopefully popping up at comic book festivals near you, music festivals. Hopefully if anyone's interested, yeah, just follow us and have some fun, because we're cooking a lot of new stuff. The music doesn't stop. I've got a new album in the work. I've got a few albums in the works, but once the comic comes out, it's going to be full steam ahead on my next album, and then the next thing, and then I'm working on a comic book for 1984, which is coming. That's kind of like a surprise thing that we're working on.
Oh, okay,
I think
okay.
1984, which is one of my songs. In the near future, I think there's going to be a lot of 1984 news that might excite some people. I'm excited about that, but we're focused on the comic right now. But there's going to be stuff coming out for a long time to come, so we're pretty excited. And this comic, this is #1. I would love to keep doing this. I've already had a few artists message me, be like, "Hey, can I get involved in this comic?" And I'm like, "Oh, this one's already done, but I want to do more. So if you want to do more, let's do it." So yeah, hopefully this could become a semi-regular anthology. That would be a lot of fun, because
amazing.
I've only got 700 songs or something, so we could do a few more comics, I think.
Awesome. Well, I am pumped for that. I am excited for you to be so damn creative, just like you are. Once again, folks, absolutely click the link. Simply Google Kickstarter Wordburglar. You will find it. Smash the notify me on launch. Get the book, get the album, and enjoy. Bergie, it has been an absolute joy to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Thank you, man. Keep living between Wednesdays and keeping it real.
Awesome. Thank you. And for the folks at home, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Peace. If it rhymes.
Golden age to present, digest to oversize. Never miss new comic day. Yeah, no surprise. So where's my no prize? Check the letter columns. Can't find issue 2. Collector problems, cliffhangers.